NBT, it's more money.
One easy loan.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
Introducing Mo Money, NBT's new unsecured loan offer requiring no collateral. A simple, easy way to fund your 2022 with up to $50,000. Apply online or in branch today.
It's more money time.
Do everything you want to do with Mo Money. Call us at 255-2337 or apply online at nbdominica.com.
More money with NBT, it's more money.
Smooth, so rich and pure. Cafe Brazil is what you have wished for. Cafe Brazil, have a cup, fill up, come and explore. Cafe Brazil, Cafe Brazil, shake up, wake up with Cafe Brazil.
Indulge in the distinctive flavors of perfectly blended Robusta and Arabica coffee beans. And make sure to try our new Cafe Brazil Gold Coffee.
Cafe Brazil.
Cafe Brazil. Taste the smooth, rich difference.
Did you love this show? Then call us at 614-3385 to find out ways you can support this program. Thank you for tuning in. Keep it locked to your genuine sound, Kyrie FM.
It is Tuesday. It is the 14th day of June 2022. It is day number 165 in the year 2022. There are 200 days left in the year to make it great. We are into week number 24. 44.93% of the year has come and gone. Good morning to you wherever you are, the north, south, east or west. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the hang for today. Welcome, 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 welcome to the hang for today, Tuesday. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you. If it's your anniversary today, happy anniversary to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. If you're going through a rough time, do hold strong. God never gives more than you can bear. Good morning to my good friend Mavis James. Good morning to Auntie Sonia Williams, Auntie Decima Royer, my friend Vanya in Savonpai. Lauren Benoit, good morning to you. Auntie Paula, good morning. Uncle, good morning as well. Jackie in London, good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Good morning to the folks in Girardel, Eggleston and Fortney. Good morning to the folks in Granby, Tetmon, Mountain, Grand Colibri, Bordeaux. Good morning to you all. Our friends in the north, good morning. Great hospitality last night through Senior Minister. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm here to do the introduction this morning, and Ronald will take over in a few minutes. Got our days crossed there. The Hang brought to you compliments the good folks at Flow Dominica, Busy Bubble Laundry, and Cash and Carry. We'll be back right after a word from our sponsors.
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, floor. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Post all you want.
Win big with Flow. iPads, smartphones, staycations, breakfast fare tickets, data, and over $15,000 in cash. Activate a 3, 7, or 30-day prepaid combo plan. Pay up your bill. Switch to Flow. Bundle up for your chance to win every day.
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Post all you want. Look at the place covered. Do what you want. Watch what you want.
Bundle now and get a smartphone for free. Switch now.
laundry service on the hustle. Washing, drying, folding service. Washing comfort cause it's worth it. Kiddies Zone, Crimson Toys. Come on, Daddy, bring the bag. Dirty stains from wine and malts. Come on, man, it's not your fault. Busy Bubble.
Visit our new location on the Castle Comfort Highway next to the Cicero Hotel. Busy Bubble Laundry, taking the busy out of your day.
Cash and Carry is the ideal spot to shop for your wholesale and food service needs. Don't underestimate its size. They offer a wide variety of best brands in grocery and household items that you know and trust in convenient sizes for businesses, restaurants, and households. Wondering where it is? Cash and Carry is located opposite the Immigration Department on King George V Street in Roseau. Visit them or call 316-0184 or 255-6823 to place your orders. Cash and Carry, it's where I shop.
Do you think you have what it takes to be the next big voice on radio? Do you want to host your own show live on air? Do you have a keen interest in on-air DJing, an interesting show idea, or even news presenting? Well, we are open for auditions right here on Your Genuine Sound, Kyrie FM. Both male and female are welcome. Contact our office today at telephone 448-7331 or our programming department to book your audition spot. Step out of that box, break some boundaries, and be the next big voice on radio.
Print City. Modern, creative, exciting. From various heat press options to detail embroidery. With years of experience in photography and design. Get full-on branding deals, t-shirts and banner printings, logos, graphics and designs, along with additional social media services. Located at 42 Independence Street, Roseau Dominica, downstairs, Kyrie FM. Call 617-2916 or printcitydominica@gmail.com.
Are you looking for that perfect setup for your conference, seminar, or company function? Or maybe you need a low-budget setup for your party, dinner, or private gathering? How about that professional production for your grand concert, festival, or outdoor event? Kyrie Sounds is here to provide you with everything you need. PA system, stage, lighting, microphones, tents, LED digital screens, generators, projectors, crowd barriers, and more. We also offer free event consultation to ensure the success of your special event. Call us today at 612-4050 or 612-1265. Kyrie Sounds, your partner in sound, stage, and lighting services.
It is 17 minutes after 8 o'clock. You heard the voice of Daryl moments ago. We have a switch around here. Sorry for the slight hiccup. But our program continues. I want to welcome you. My name is Ronald Charles, as you would know, and I'm standing in this morning. Well, not really standing in. We're shifting gears this morning. We're looking at child justice. And, of course, we have two officials from from that aspect of our area. We have Mr. Martin Anthony from the Welfare Division and, of course, Magistrate Gloria Augustus. And they will take us through the paces this morning, looking at the various bills that government will soon enact in terms of child welfare, child justice, and generally child welfare. We'll come back in a few moments and we take the discussion through its pieces. Of course, the discussion is very timely, coming as it were, with the present situation in Warner. Up to the moment I walked into the studio, we still haven't had any news, any good news to share with your listeners. about the whereabouts or the status of the search, what is happening on the ground. We do not have that information, unable to share it with you. But we trust that, again, as every day brings in new hope, new expectation, we expect by the end of the day, before the morning is over, actually, we can get some good news about the welfare of the child. Martin and Gloria, good morning.
Morning to you, Ronald, and to the listeners. We're happy to be here to at least share some information on matters relating to children, particularly in terms of a number of bills government is considering for enactment in Parliament, and we will talk about those bills in a short while.
Good morning. I am happy to be here to speak about the Child Justice Bill.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bill that has been enacted by all the OECS member states except Dominica. So I am eagerly waiting, anxiously waiting for all the things we put in place and for us to enact this new piece of legislation which is more rights-based than the one that we presently have.
Okay, well, thank you, Martin and Gloria. They are no strangers to the Dominican airwaves. You hear them every so often championing the rights of children among us. And of course, the intervention this morning here on Kyrie comes at a very, very opportune moment where we have that situation as it developed in the Warner area. I just want that's not the main focus of discussion this morning, but of course we really can't have a discussion on child welfare unless we speak to the at least mention what is happening here. And I just want to invite them, to comment on what is happening on their perspective. Maybe they have information that we do not have. They might want to share with us.
All right. Yes, Ronald. The information. The situation as we see it right now is that the whole country is in sadness over the current situation. If it was an adult, it would be the same, but relating to a child, it's even more so in terms of a child being so vulnerable that the vulnerability of children calls for actions at all levels, and the prevailing situation points to the fact that as we see evident that we are all putting our efforts in one way or the other to find a solution to the present situation. And I must say that it is a clarion call for all of us, both individually and collectively at state level, within the family, within the communities, to re-examine how we approach matters pertaining to children. I know at the government level, that is why government is looking at certain pieces of certain bills to enact, all directed towards the overall welfare of children and families. And the legislative framework is very, very important. But I dare say, in addition to the legislative framework, we have certain structures in place to ensure that children are catered for, starting at the family level and what families need to do for the overall welfare of children. Then we could move on to agency level, agencies like health, education, law enforcement, social services. And perhaps it's a time for us to review the manner in which we do things at those structures in terms of the care and protection of children. Any system along the way will need improvement. And we're not saying that certain things are not being done. But I think what has happened to this child points to the fact that we may need to review the way we do things within our various systems. By that I mean from the social services, welfare division, and so on. Can improvements be made in the way matters are handled when it comes to the care and protection of children, including those who are subject to various forms of maltreatment, including the abuse of children? At the law enforcement perspective, can improvements be done also at that level in terms of due process and the manner in which due process is done at that level? And we can go further to the level of the court. I know that persons have expressed serious sentiments in terms of the time it takes for matters to be disposed of. And one may say that there are a number of reasons for that. But one cannot be satisfied and may be asking the question, why does it take so long for matters to be disposed? Sometimes 5-6 years that matters to be disposed at the court. The court is the level where matters are dealt with to find redress. But what about what happens leading to a court matter being heard? Are we satisfied? And I'm strong of the view that we need to look at our various structures to see what is working well, where we need improvement in those structures, all towards the care and protection. And I dare say too that it's not only the structures. What about at the community level? What about at the level of the family? At the community level, are people still closing their eyes to the reporting of cases when they see evidence where children have been maltreated? So it's a partnership, and I think what has happened to this by now points to the fact that we need to take a relook at how we do things and see where we can improve. I mean, one perfect example that has emerged is how the country is united in that effort. Is it only in diversity when things are serious like a Hurricane Maria that we come together? Why can't we come together always as a country to deal with matters? So that's just my comments on that matter.
Thanks, Martin. Very, very comprehensive opening line, Ms. Augustus.
Good morning. Given the limited time we have, all I want to say is that, like me, I'm sure a lot of people go to sleep. Last thing on their mind is Kanisha. First thing in the mind when they get up in the morning, Kanisha will be getting some good news. And this has been happening. It's almost even causing anxiety, because it's like, every day, sometimes even while I'm in court, I'm hoping that, I would hear something and then I would say, is she found? Mm-hmm. Because it's like, she has become everybody's child. Mm-hmm. And all of us are hoping that, she'll be found and that she'll be found well. And I'm hoping that when she's found well, that we do the right thing in terms of dealing with her at that point, given the trauma that she would have gone through. So really, I'm hoping and praying even that today will be a breakthrough. Because it's like, day 1, day 2, day 3, the countdown for us, we really would like to have a breakthrough and have Kanisha home today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you hit on a very important point. Of course, for those who may not know, just tuning into Kyrie, Miss Augustus is a magistrate and she would be in the legal, dealing with those matters, similar matters. But quite apart from the legal aspect of that particular situation, there's a whole range of other interventions that would be required, when she comes home. I'm saying when she comes home, mm-hmm. To deal with the emotional, mm-hmm. Because can we speak to that, the emotional attention she requires?
No, I think that that we've had enough time to think about it, and I think the authorities I'm sure have a plan in place when she's found. Because it's not like just somebody comes from the airport, hey, welcome home. It's not that.
Go home.
So, so I'm sure that given the time that has passed and all the things that we have heard, true or not true, that there is a plan to deliver.
Okay.
I'm I would think so. I'm hopeful it is so.
And no doubt, as Mr. Goster said, I mean, a plan must be put in place, and the plan should be evolving even now.
Yep.
And no doubt the medical aspect of that plan, the psychological, the therapy that would be needed for this child, and part and parcel of that plan.
If I may say,
the psychosocial aspect, of
Saturday morning I was washing plates and I'm thinking, I guess wishful thinking, that Kanisha and the man comes to my home and that I tell him leave her, I take her and I hug her, I tell her my name, I ask her how she is, I give her food, all that before I even think of police. I was just like going through things because it's like, where is she? And I'm thinking that, if she comes to me, what would I do? And people will say, but why you didn't call police? Because to me, at that point, she is the most important thing. You have to ensure that she's in a particular space and way before you even, that kind of thing.
And that will be go over a period of time.
It's affecting people.
It's not only for the immediate, I'm recovery, the immediate receipt of the child to a society and a family, but it takes it's going to take a long time, and the state has a role to play to ensure that she graduates, as it were, from that traumatic situation into a situation where she can say, okay, I can see a man on the road and don't get frightened. I can go to school. I can sleep well in my bed. Because I mean.
So definitely it's a comprehensive plan.
Yes.
The important figures who are going to be around her, in terms, not only in terms of the agency level, but within the family itself,
the social structure,
to help in the rehabilitative process, because it may be a very long process in terms of the trauma that the child has been subjected to. It may very well be a long process. What will be the role of the school? What will be the role of the community to reintegrate this child? It's a matter of now reintegrating this child, and it calls for partnerships at all levels. And just to say quickly, Ronald, that even now it's a situation of grief and loss. For those of us who have gone into this area of study, it's a situation of grief and loss. Grief in terms of the entire country is in grief, because of what has transpired. We have lost a child for the time being. So the effects of that is telling. I have heard so many people say, I cannot sleep, I'm crying, It has touched the sensitivity of our lives, so we are all affected. Just look at the children with whom she went to school, and I'm thankful that the Ministry of Education has immediately gone in there and assisting the children. The Welfare Division went in there and assisting the children through play therapy. But we could go on and on.
Yes,
but our time is running
out. Yes. I can say that.
Let me just say that for a lot of families it would be a relief, because some people cannot eat, some people cannot sleep, some people deal with their children differently. Somebody's telling me this thing has put me in problems because my wife is saying no, child should not leave school unless somebody picks her up and drops her home. So now I have to look for somebody to go and pick up the child if I cannot, because my wife is saying her child is not walking on the street. So it has affected people in all kinds of ways, So we're really like a breakthrough. I hope that our prayers are answered today, that she can be found.
Well, if you're
we could go on and on about that.
If you're listening to us, and you can do something, anything about the child's whereabouts, the perpetrator, and you can reach him, please, on behalf of the young child, on behalf of our family and our community, our country, please, lend a hand, bring her home today. It's 7 days now, 8 days now, 8 days today, and please. Of course, as we said earlier, I'm sure that program was planned before last week. Yeah, and we're here to look at the various pieces of legislation being contemplated. Who want to have the first go?
So, in a nutshell, Ronald, what we go into, what those laws speak about? They speak about the overall welfare of children, from the perspective of the justice system, from the perspective of the administrative level and what workers need to do within those various systems. So those bills that have been put forward it has been a long process to come to the point where Dominica is attempting now to have those legislation enacted in Parliament, and so the Child Justice Bill speaks to children who have offended, whereas the Children Care and Adoption Bill speaks to children who have been offended against, and they need care and they need attention, and all in the quest to reform our statutes, because Magistrate Augustus, who can take it from there, would tell you that many of our laws are outdated, and there is need for reform in a number of areas. But it's not only reforming our legislation. How do we get to the point of enforcing the various pieces of legislation? When these bills are enacted, are the systems going to be in place to enact the legislation? So, Mr. Augustus,
before we go to Mr. Augustus and Martin, I'm still my mother's child. What age group are we talking about here?
Okay, I'll get to that.
Okay.
All right, good morning, everybody. We're looking at the Child Justice Bill, and it's all part of the Juvenile Justice Reform Project. The project has helped the countries, and in this bill, we are looking at that to take a more rights-based, individualized approach to dispensing justice for children in conflict with the law, with the main focus on diverting them away from the criminal justice system and rehabilitation. And in looking at that, we're also looking at the minimum age of criminal responsibility. And in the OECS, before some of the bills were enacted, the age went as low as 7 to 12. Dominica had 12. So the age of criminal responsibility is 12 for us in Dominica. And given the discussions, this was what that the OECS countries decided would be the minimum age. So really, it's the minimum age below which a child shall be presumed not to have the capacity to infringe the law. In other words, a child who has not yet reached the age of 12 cannot be charged with an offense or subjected to any criminal law procedure or measures. Okay? If an offense is committed, yes, in the eyes of the law, we know it's an offense. If the child is below 12, another way has to be found to deal with it, and we will deal with that through the Children Care and Protection. We'll find some other way. It's not that we'll close our eyes to it, but the child cannot go through the penal system.
Well, what that says, without cutting Mr. Augustus, what that says too, and just to emphasize the point you made towards the end there, what happens to the child who is on the 12 years, who may be involved, whose actions may border on a criminal activity, in as much as the age of criminal responsibility is 12 years, the child at 11 years cannot be charged and brought before the court. But as the magistrate says, the child can be dealt with under other pieces of legislation, and for example, the Children Care and Adoption Bill. Because if you are involved in such activity at 11 years, you need care.
Or 10.
That's 10. That is pointing towards something is wrong, that you need some attention.
So what happens from 12?
Okay, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
All right, so although the age is debatable, because you could say, why 12? You know? But it's an age that we have decided, and it's an age at which a child can be considered to have a general understanding of the nature and content of criminal proceedings and the potential repercussions, right from wrong, what can happen, and so on. So, given that we have limited time, I want to kind of give a synopsis of what is now and what is to come. So, for those of you who do not know, we have a specialized system of dealing with children who commit offenses. Even now, in the Magistrates Court, we have a particular day in Roseau, because it's the biggest district, on Wednesdays, where we deal with young persons. In other districts, when a matter with a young person comes up, we sort of clear the court and do it differently. So children are among the most vulnerable members of society, right? And it's the duty of the state to protect them until they are adults. And it's for that reason that they're treated different from adults in the criminal justice system. In our trainings, we've also learned about the brain. Somebody's brain is not fully developed until they're 25. And some of the actions of young people, some of the things that we see can be explained by the brain, the level of brain development. But this is another how many hours, on its own. So the general process now for dealing with children in conflict with the law, I've been saying children, because under this whole reform, we're no longer going to be using the word juvenile, and we're also going to use the word child or children in conflict with the law. And a child for purposes is any person under the age of 18. And for the child justice bill, or whatever child justice law that we put in place, it will be from 12 to 18. The age of criminal responsibility up to 18. That will be dealing with them. So the general process for dealing with children with conflict with the law is that, okay, a child is alleged to have committed an offense, that child is arrested or apprehended and charged, matter goes to court where the child could plead guilty or be found guilty if there's a trial, and then there's a probation or pre-sentence report usually requested by the magistrate to be used in informing the sentencing decision. But we have very limited sentencing options as it stands in the present legislation. And also, in the present legislation, you know more about the child at the end of the process rather than at the beginning, right? Sometimes you only hear certain things when you're ready to give sentence.
That's out of the probation report.
Yes, and probably even in talking to them or certain things that come up during the trial. And what this new legislation is focused on now is more pre-trial diversion. Because having dealt with young people for all those years, a lot of matters come to the court really should not come to the court. There are some matters that come to the court that can be dealt with outside the court in a different way, through mediation, through some meeting, through restorative justice, or sometimes even by just talking to that young person. Because yes, although offenses are committed, sometimes some children, I say, come to the court by default. Not everybody. The thing is, for the public, when we hear of the heinous crimes, we think, boy, all children. It's not that. Because if you are in the court for 300 and how many days or 200 days a year, and for how many years, you see it differently. So I'm speaking from an informed point of view. Not all children or who come to the court are quote-unquote bad children to be painted with a brush. There are some children, yes, who might come every Monday morning, but there are some who only come once. They walk that way but once. So under the reform legislation, it supports pre-trial diversion. What it is, it's a sort of sifting. Is that a matter that we should go through the entire, use resources and time and day to go for an entire trial? Or is that a matter where we can deal with it and put in something in place where we can hold that child accountable and that child...
Similar to what happens at the High Court level with the masters, and it's similar, like a pre-trial intervention?
Because there's the whole thing that the PI and so on.
No, PI is different. PI is different. It's okay. It's an informal mandatory process called an initial inquiry. Okay? So prior to that initial inquiry, a child who was alleged to have committed an offense has to be assessed. So there, you see now they're being assessed even before they come to court. So you have an idea as to who is before me, what is the situation, right? And when they're assessed, they're being assessed for individual and family and community history that would put them at a risk for reoffending and what needs can be addressed to reduce reoffending. Because really, you're looking at what they have done, but also how can I bring back that child? How can I get that child to not come back this way again?
And just to say quickly, Ronald, that the probation officers who are the ones who are going to prepare such a report have gone through a process of training so that the quality of their report would be improved.
It's much improved.
So that the magistrate who receives that report get a better idea exactly who they... Because can't you imagine a court, Magistrate Augustus dealing with a child and she haven't got enough information on that child. So a process of training has gone through where the officers have been exposed. How do you assess the child in terms of risk? What are the risks around the child? What are the strengths? What are the protective factors around the child? What is the mental health status of that child? So all of these are pulled together through interviews, and as Mr. Augustus said, the officers are trained to really go in depth to unearth enough information about the child, so that when the court reach, and different from what it is right now, because Mr. Augustus pointed to the preliminary initial inquiry, where at that first instance the court wants to know about the child.
Because even now in the present legislation, it states that the magistrate should see to two other persons. Because when you look at what a young person has done, it's not just about the offense or the crime. You also want to look at other situations, other factors in dealing with that young person. So this there is providing an opportunity for that to happen. It's on paper, we haven't really been doing it. The closest that we've gotten to it is when somebody comes from welfare, and if we want an intervention, we talk to them and they give reports and so on. But this there is putting it as part of the law that you have an initial inquiry. It's like when you go to the airport and you have to go through immigration and so on. They check your passport to see if you can go through to the next door, you know. So the next door is
systematic.
Right, so it's a sifting. You come through, we check you, we check everything to see, is that a matter that should really go on through to have a trial and a trial process? Or is that a matter that we can deal with otherwise, right? So the reform also addresses screening for mental health issues, because there's some young people who have mental health issues, and that has something to do with their reoffending. So we also have to look at how do we treat with that. And I must say we are deficient in that manner. I wish we would get better, because it is causing some problems. So that report now, from that process, we inform the magistrate that in Dominica, the initial inquiry will be conducted by a magistrate. In some other countries, OECS countries, they have what you call a committee that conducts that initial inquiry. So it informs how to divert that child if there is a need to divert, because not every matter will be diverted, right? To divert that child. And if you're going to divert, it's not just, sometimes it might be, okay, go and see no more, but sometimes you might need to do something more. An apology, a program, put in certain orders, and so on. So you have to look at what are the options under consideration. Otherwise, that child may have to go through a formal court trial. So it's a sifting process. One size no longer fits all. Everybody wouldn't go through the same stream, right? And it has 3 levels. And the diversion levels, the options, and from that you can choose. Presently now, we have very few sentencing options, very few diversion options mentioned in the legislation. But that legislation there mentions police, it mentions probation, it mentions who to do what. It gives guidelines, guidance to the magistrate. And it's a much more comprehensive legislation, right? And the relevant minister, he has the power to endorse or create court-connected diversion. Because yes, it's one thing to say rehabilitate them, but how do you do it? You know, through what means? So therefore, we have to use some things that are within the community that have been tried and tested and will fulfill the purpose. And also the government has to have some programs to, and certain things to do that will help in that process. So it's not a quick fix. It's something that where you have to have processes in place, you have to have structures in place, you have, and also it doesn't come cheap. But the thing about it, if we look at it just from the monetary terms, if we don't do anything, we might pay more at the end for something else that we don't want.
Just to say to that, based on what the magistrate is saying, one may get the impression that perhaps we're making things too easy for children when they commit certain crimes.
I have a question on that. I was coming to that very same point you're raising.
Raise this question.
Yeah,
because people think of the big bad things that they hear, but when you sit there and you hear some little things come there, and one of the examples I like to use is something that happened where a boy was passing through the gardens. Some boys were playing with PP water in plastic bag, whatever it is, send it at him. It burst in his face. Think of you walking through, minding your own business. You're not in the boys' thing. They send that to you. What would be your reaction? He sent a stone. This stone hit a lady because stone is missile. He comes to court. But when you go to the background of this boy wouldn't kill a fly. You see the boy, but then he did something. But how did it happen? So sometimes children get into the system by default, I call it, or in certain ways. You come out from the coup where you see your cousin fighting, you know what your cousin fighting for, blood, thicker and water, you join, right? So we have to deal with the thing. So on a case-by-case basis. I know the bad things really get us vexed, but we cannot paint a broad brush. And there are lots of young people who have done things who probably the system didn't catch, and they have changed, you know. And some that the system came through the system probably not even given the correct assistance, and they have probably gotten worse. So we have to look at it from that broad view. And some people do not understand it until it is their child, until it comes home. They want a marriage reform, they want things to go. But we have to look at it from that broad perspective. There are some people, yes, some young people, we will say, well, you lose the key on them and that kind of thing. But it's not everybody. So, and the law is not for one person. So this there is looking at everything and saying, let us sift through who we need to pull and, you know, deal with them in a certain way, who we need to give a slap on the wrist, who we need to be you know, this is what this is about. And it speaks to everybody, the key stakeholders, police, DPP, probation, social worker, and it puts everybody and say, this is, in case you didn't know, this is your role in that. Right?
And just to back up the point and going back to children getting away with things, if you look at closely at the various clauses of the legislation, you're not getting away, because even at the initial inquiry, you have to claim responsibility for what you did. So they will be asked, did you do this? If you say, if you acknowledge responsibility, yes, if you acknowledge the responsibility, then you are dealt with. And as magistrate said, there are a number of options in the even the symbolic, what you call it, the symbolic restoration. Symbolic restoration. You may have something that is dear to you,
or something that you've made or you can make. You may have to give it up.
And you may have to give it up. Yeah. So but if you do not claim responsibility, then you go to the next level. The matter then goes to a wider court hearing. But Mr. Augustus, you may want to explain.
Okay, one of the things I want to say is that we have to look at all offences have a schedule. Schedule 1, Schedule 2, Schedule 3. The most serious offences would be in Schedule 3. So although we're saying that there is not every offence, everything that is going to be diverted.
Can you hold that, Miss Augustus, just to for station ID,
yes,
and to tell our listeners and of course our sponsors, you listen to the Hang on Kyrie FM, and we thank our sponsors Flo Dominica, Busy Bubble, and Cash and Carry.
Yeah, bundle, floor. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Post all you want.
Win big with Flow. iPads, smartphones, staycations, breakfast fare tickets, data, and over $15,000 in cash. Activate a 3, 7, or 30-day prepaid combo plan. Pay up your bill. Switch to Flow. Bundle up for your chance to win every day.
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Post all you want. Look at the place covered. Do what you want. Watch what you want.
Bundle now and get a smartphone for free. Switch now.
Daddy, you dirty your clothes again. And mommy not there to help you though. Well, bam, daddy dirty his clothes.
Easy breezy, busy bubble, laundry service on the hustle, washing, drying, folding service, washing comfort cause it's worth it. Kiddies Zone, Crimson Toys, come on daddy, bring the bag. Dirty stains from wine and malts, come on man, it's not your fault. Busy Bubble.
Visit our new location on the Castle Comfort Highway next to the Cicero Hotel. Busy Bubble Laundry, taking the busy out of your day.
Okay, it's 8 minutes before 9 o'clock, and in the house we have Magistrate Gloria Augustus and of course Welfare Officer Martin Anthony, and we're going
Consultant Martin
Anthony. Thanks for the correction there. And we're looking at the child justice bills, the proposed child justice bill coming up, and Miss Augustus was taking us through the various aspects of the bill, and she was just on the Schedule 3.
No, what I was saying is that the offences will be categorized, and we have Schedule 1, 2, and 3. So murder and grievous bodily harm, rape and certain things would be in Schedule 3. So it's not every matter, because I spoke about initial inquiry and the whole purpose of legislation to be really diversion focused and so on, but it's not every matter that will be diverted, but some will be diverted. So bear in mind that. So now if a matter goes to trial, so for instance, if they are not diverted at the initial inquiry and they go for the formal trial, you could either plead guilty at that point or be found guilty. And even when that happens, a pre-sentence report has to be requested, which would inform the sentence choice. Do we give an alternative sentence as alternative to custody? Do we have them go to a residential facility? But the big question is, Dominica, do we have one? And I would like people to understand that Chances is not a residential facility for children who commit offenses. People tend to think about it like that, okay? Or do we even have a correctional facility? Because although we are saying we want to rehabilitate, we want to assist, there are one or two of the young people who probably we would have to treat with in that manner. So the philosophy is that children in conflict with the law should only be detained as a measure of last resort for the shortest possible time, right? And the general goal is to really hold children accountable and to rehabilitate them in the process, and in some cases to reintegrate them back in the community. So this whole law, the bill, it supports an individual's rights-based approach where there's appropriate, fair, and proportionate treatment. You know, these are the key determinants. Because what we do, we treat every case differently. We assess, we look, we have persons come together, we discuss to see how best can we deal with that situation. If it has to go for a formal trial, so be it. If it doesn't have to, how do we divert? And what are the diversion options? What do we have in place? Who supervises? Because you don't just divert and nobody is supervising. So we have to have workers for the task, and that is why this law will only work if we have the number of persons, or if we have persons for the task, like enough probation officers, police officers, and it would even be better if we have a particular section of the police, you see, like how they have task force and so on, that we have some, like in some of the countries, they have vulnerable persons group or whatever. They have some police officers who deal with these matters to deal with young people. So we're trying to see how we can get that. We've been talking about that all the time, and it'd be very good if we have that, because persons in that unit will be trained. Because when you are trained, you see things differently. You hear people talking, but when you are informed, when you know better, you do better. When you're trained, you see it from a different perspective. Like I always say, in terms of a mechanic, I hear a noise in my car, I probably say, well, I hear a bow or this or that. I have no idea. Mm-hmm. But the mechanic knows whether it's a ball joint, whether it's this, whether it's that, because of his training and his experience. So it's the same thing to do with this. People who are in the system to deal with the young persons, they need to be trained, they need to understand, because we have to deal with them in a way that is appropriate, a way that is fair, a way that is proportionate. And what we're trying to see is, can we have a right-based system, a fairer system, where we really try to see the best to which we can rehabilitate, we can bring back, we can save our young persons. Some people, yes, will get the full arm of it. That is how it is. But are we failing some? You know, are we doing the best that we can do? And it will not be easy, and people have to understand that. So for this to happen, there has to be a level of commitment. People cannot think the same way. We have to have a different mindset, and that comes with training, that comes with experience. And we also have to educate parents. We have to communities in the whole process, because we can only work when all these players understand really this child, understand situations and supports, and we can see how best we can treat with to deal with the young persons. I mean, we have to deal with it from that broad point of view, because we don't have enough time. Because if we have to go for legislation, that's a whole, you know, when we train for the legislation, it takes like 2-3 days to go through it. There are new terms, there are new processes and so on, because all that's being done is to see this old archaic legislation we have there, you know, in this day and age.
Talk about the process. Talk about the process, Mr. Augustus. 12-year-old, 11-year-old commits something which an offense. You know, and the parent or whoever is affected call the police. Take us through the steps. What quite
Okay,
apart from, quite distinct from the present
All right.
situation.
If they call the police, based on what it is, the police would also get in touch with persons from the Social Welfare Division, and according to what it is, some other agencies would have to be contacted, and then at that level, they will see how best they can deal with it, because it cannot come through the court system. Okay.
So the police, the welfare, and whoever.
It depends on what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Okay.
at that, from the ministry point of view and
Mhm.
so on, they would probably have a meeting and so on, and see how best that they can deal with that.
So what we're saying, yes, the child may be involved in behavior which borders on criminal activity.
Why you would
But-
say
but-
borders?
but-
Sometimes it is a criminal
It's a
activity.
criminal
Okay?
activity.
It's an offense.
The
It might not- it's not
the
borders.
magistrate says
No. I mean, sometimes if it's borders only, but it don't come there. The reason why it took our attention, because it is. Okay.
So in such a case, a child cannot be held accountable under the law for having committed the crime. But as we are saying, other systems, other aspects of the system come into play. The welfare division and other agencies, even the school, finding out more about the child, and to see how.
Because
No, it's not under that law.
Under
That law.
Yes.
But there are other areas that you could probably address it. So it's under that law.
Because one of the immediate issues that jumps at us is the various tiers of administering that situation, and is it a cost, an additional cost? But in that
if you
in that
don't
example,
pay,
in that example you just gave, there's no real additional cost, because the welfare is there, the police is there, the welfare is there, and the other agency may be involved.
No, there might be a cost, because I mean, what do you do? It's not just talk, Sometimes you may have to do certain things or put them through certain things. There is always a cost. There is always a cost. Okay. It is always a cost. What you have to have is structures, and what you have to have is communication between the agencies, so that one agency know what the other one is doing, and that they are all singing from the same hymn sheet. And that's why in some of the countries, agencies that deal with young people meet once every whatever it is and discuss cases and so on, because in that way it puts you in a better way to deal with things when they come up, to say, well, I have this, I have that, and in that way you can share resources, you can share experiences. Right? There are lots of things that we have that are just on paper, and we have them packed somewhere. There's some very good information from Trinidad in terms of protocols and how they deal with things, and how different agencies. There are some very good books where Impact Justice spent a lot of money on how we deal with people with disabilities, one for the police, one for the prosecutors. Where are they? They are just there. So that's what I'm saying. If we have agencies that are specialized, then maybe we can ensure that these agencies have these books, and that it forms part of their training, and that we get something better, right? Because it's not just about what you hear or what you think, because other times when I deal with certain matters and you hear the backstories, it sets you thinking differently. It's people hear one thing, but sometimes when you have, as I say, the full story.
And that always brings into play the whole question of justice and welfare. From the perspective, as Mr. Augustus said, and from the perspective of the social worker, sometimes when you go into the life of the child and you see what has emerged, the trends and so on, you really ask yourself serious questions. No doubt that this child has gone into, such activity, such behavior, and then you still have to weigh it, as we are seeing here, the justice aspect. So there's always that pulling apart of justice and welfare, but they need to come together, because as in the case of the bill, as we spoke, the child has to be held accountable. That is the justice aspect. But what about the welfare, the overall welfare of the child? And that is why, as Mr. Augustus indicated, the bill makes provision of possibly sending children to certain institutions. That's not the best, because it's costly, but sometimes you have no choice than to have them go into certain institutions. But it's more rehabilitative. How do you, and that's the idea behind diversion. How, in diverting a child, you divert the child to community programs, so that within those community programs, you help the child to be rehabilitated. And as a last resort, you may send a child to an institution, because the bill makes mention of a residential facility, of a place of safety and all that. and even makes mention of a secure residential facility, which is a prison in itself, and all efforts, even now, and I don't even need Miss Augustus to speak to that, even now, the court do everything possible not to send a child to the adult prison right now. But there are some in the end you are forced to do it for one reason or another. But yes, it makes provision for facilities, but one knows the cost of having children and even adults in certain institutions.
Another thing that we need to think of is that in terms of parenting, we need to get the community on board and get the community to think, and even our institutions, to think prevention. Because if we can have a lot of things that engage the young people positively, and we can get into some of these things, prevent them. Because if a child is doing well, I have a talent and I'm being highlighted, and everybody is checking me, and you think I have time to go and do other kind of things? No, right? So therefore, sometimes, even some of the programs and things that we have can help in terms of prevention. Yes, some come there, but we're not waiting for children to come and say, "Oh, I hold you," and then deal with them. We prefer if they don't even come within the system. So what are we doing about that? So prevention, having other programs, some things go a long way in building character, in helping, even in terms of how you treat with communities. Because when you look at the community and the things some children go through, there's some children who go through things that really, you wonder if it were you, would you be able to even go through that? There's some really bad things happening to young people. And there's something they say, hurt people. When they're hurt, they want to hurt you more, right? So therefore, we have to think of all those things. Yes, we have one or two. Yes, we have what we have. But the thing is that do not paint a broad brush and just think all children, because it's not all children. Because when you have the information and you see what happens, there are some persons that you can deal with differently. I just want to even give an example here on air, where I was doing a training in one of the islands for police. And at the graduation, a policeman wanted to give a testimony. So I asked him, what it is that you want to say. I need to know before, because I don't want to be surprised. So he told me. I said, okay, go ahead. And when he was giving his testimony, I was sitting by one of these high-up officers, and he was laughing. He was smiling.
One of the gazetted officers.
Yes. So I said, why are you smiling? He said, but that's soft, man, based on what I did. And the only reason I got away is because they had fraud the case. And here he was to live another day and become a gazetted officer, right? But because there's some people who do things, if they look back in their life, where if they were caught, maybe they would have been, because sometimes getting into the system can either make or break you. There are some who walk that way but once. There are some who meet me and tell me, you said I didn't come back? I say, yeah, keep it that way, right? There are some who come back all the time. Some I wonder, but why are you coming back, So we have to read, and it's how we treat with the young person. Right? So some people might have the story and just mix something, but then it's how you treat with them. And I think we've failed some young people. And I don't like being part of that system. Sometimes I feel bad about it. Up to today, I saw one of my boys and I'm like, boy, I know I tried. I know I tried. And I saw him this morning in his passing. I said, you're all right? He said, yes. But he gone.
You could see he's not all right.
No, I know he's not all right. I know he's not all right, but I couldn't just see him pass and not
say hello,
call him or anything, or say anything. So and the thing is, the story around him is a lot. But then, maybe what we did wasn't enough, because sometimes it takes time, and it takes a lot more hands to assist.
And that's the point. It takes, and I keep emphasizing all the time, it takes a coming together, of talents, of resources, combining our efforts. No longer can we say we're working in isolation, starting from the family level to the various structures in place that we need at the practitioners level. We need to come together in the work we do. One may say, how weren't we together? I dare say that that may be so.
Together in action, not in Pali.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Augusta, you said it's a common legislation for is it OECS?
Yes, all the other countries have passed this except Dominica.
Except Dominica.
Yes.
Okay. Would you know why? Any particular reason? Are we
For
prepared?
Dominica?
Yeah. Are we prepared? Have we been preparing?
I don't think you need to ask me that on the air. I'll say that right
Well,
now.
I think we have been preparing. That is why
Okay.
a lot of training has been taking place.
Mhm.
And I say that I keep saying
I think
yes.
we need to prepare better.
I think although we are delayed, it's an opportunity to ensure
It's
that
a long time. For me, as a person in there,
The
for
system,
me,
yeah.
it's not acceptable that we have not passed it and that we have not put certain things in place.
because it's not a matter of just passing laws. You pass the law, yes, and
It's
that's
a good thing on
very
paper.
good to pass the law.
But you have to be
and
ready for it.
modern legislation which is coming in terms of these pieces of legislation are quite different from what we have right now. We didn't have the time to talk about adoption, which is under the other bill, but that will come in the future. But we're trying to sensitize the public, as we're doing now, of what is coming. We're trying to work with the practitioners, at least to help them to know what is coming. Recently we spent 3 different workshops with police officers.
Not now, over the years we've been having.
Yes, but in preparation for the passage of this bill, to let the police know, because when you look at those laws, it calls for a number of players: the police, the social workers, the court, the health people, as in the case of the care.
And also, we could also broaden the meaning of practitioners to mean the community, the family.
Yeah.
Yes,
We can't leave them out. We can't leave the family out. All what we are doing there, when the probation officer goes to prepare a report for court, you must speak to members of the family. When the police, the child justice bill, we didn't have time to go into that, but the child justice bill, as long as you have the child in your custody, you cannot do anything unless you call in the probation officer. Because why? Right at that initial stage, the officer has to start preparing a report for the court. So all those things.
It is 10 minutes after 9 o'clock. I think the calls at the phone line have been going. We've been ignoring it, Miss Augustus.
I have to be in court.
Oh, Miss Augustus has to leave us now. Okay, so Martin, you'll stay with us still?
Stanton, you'll answer the calls?
Yeah.
Yes, I could try.
Okay. On the local line, good morning. We just want to, before you come on call, I just want to excuse Miss Augustus because she has to leave.
I asked her to stay for 5 more minutes, and she has agreed.
Okay, so if you do not hear after this call, I know that she has other responsibilities. Caller on the local line, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Charles.
Good morning.
Morning to your guests and them. I'm trying to follow the program as much as I can. Is this a draft bill or that's the final stage of the bill that goes to Parliament?
Okay, it's still in draft.
It's still
In
in draft.
that it's only when government approves of the contents of the bills en route to Parliament.
Okay.
So deliberation is taking place.
But
because
Mr. Augustus, you see, what I sometimes try to understand is you have a juvenile who may break and enter someone's home. They lost their gold or their DVD or valuables. But the court gives a suspended sentence because he's a juvenile based on the age of the individual. I am asking now, can parents be held accountable for loss of items when you have these juveniles steal your items from your home? Now, we always say the prison is not the right place. But sometimes some of these young juveniles, it is more than once. So you give a suspended sentence, you give a reprimanded sentence, then you send them maybe to the place in Silver Lake area. But sometimes it doesn't always help because they continue again. Now I can tell you, some of these boys, they boast. They even lie to the magistrate. Now the magistrate doesn't read your mind. But they lie and they tell their friends that I fool Mamzelwe, or I fool Mr. We, and look, I outside. And I am saying, really, it would be very interesting to know when this bill finally gets to Parliament and implementations is being done. Because there was a plan to put a juvenile center, a rehabilitation center for juveniles and stuff like that. And that has been for many, many years. And it just never getting off the ground. Because even when a spot was identified, it was visited with prison and stuff like that. When the paper was put to work and the question about staffing came up, suddenly the key for that place disappeared on a desk at the prison from this day onwards. So, I mean, a lot of things may be taking too long to be implemented, and that is why sometimes we have in these situations that we have. But my main question was, can parents be held accountable when you lose your items from your home? Can they be accountable to repay you? Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller, and for your question. Miss Augustus may want to, as I said, she has to leave now. She has other functions.
If there is some level of compensation, it is the parent who has to pay, because the child is underage and it's put on the parents then to pay. It is the parent. It's not the child. The child doesn't work anywhere. It is the parent.
On the local line, good morning. Hello, on the local line, good morning. Yes, on the local line, good morning. Good morning. Go ahead with your question. Rooftop man, I suspect you have to try again, call again, because the reception is very muffled here. We can't hear clearly what you're saying. Sorry about that, but try again.
But as the first caller indicated, yes, you need to have different institutions, and as we mentioned, the institutions are there, and the bill makes provision for the setting up of institutions. But as I keep saying, this should be as a last resort. But some may have to end up in those institutions.
15 minutes after 9 o'clock. Good morning on the local line.
Yes, good morning again. Just want to say that I appreciate the information so far. It's very good. Again, it's information. But for the magistrate, she mentioned a few things which I agree with. She said that we should think prevention and community involvement. And we all know the saying that prevention is better than cure, which is a metaphor. Okay? You prevent the action. You don't have to worry about any solution to any problem. Now, it is pointless to me. I mean, to me, it's pointless that you have the laws on the books, and then you have in our society, the family doesn't know about the law, the churches doesn't know, the educational system doesn't know. My question is, what method are you going to use to inform those important entities where they can dish out the information to the people who need them or need it? Because yes, we have that information here and there, but if the mother doesn't know about that information which you can share it with the child, it is to me pointless. You're going to have the problem. You're going to be in a reactionary mode versus a prevention mode. So what method is that going to be used, or what method are you going to be used? What method is going to be used to help the churches, the family, the educational system dish out the information? I'm listening. Thank you.
Thank you, caller, for your intervention here.
Okay, we have been throughout the years dealing with the same institution that he spoke about, the church, the family. I have been involved in a lot of things. We have used drama. We have used. Remember when we had this whole panel discussion and so on. I've gone through trainings. We had town hall meetings. We have been even in collaboration with the welfare division. We've had parenting programs by radio. Even the same gentleman who just called there, he has called on the program. So we have been trying different ways of bringing out the information. And because we have been on that for so long, we've had several bites. Going, because I've spoken to persons in education. I've spoken to persons from churches. So yes, we have been. Maybe you can say we need to do more, but we have been doing over the years.
Yes, thank you. Another caller on the local line. Good morning. On the local line. Good morning, caller. Going once, going twice on the local line. Person did not want to.
So it's time for us to wrap up.
Yes, okay.
Mr. Augustus must go.
It is 18 minutes after 9 o'clock, and we were discussing the child justice bill coming up. Being under discussion at the level of the technicians and the officers there. We had in studio Miss Gloria Augustus and consultant Martin Anthony, and they took us through the pieces to discuss that. We just want to, Miss Augustus has to leave now. Gloria Sceptre Augustus. She has to leave now. She has other responsibilities to deal with. We take their closing remarks.
So just to say thank you for the opportunity, and just to emphasize that what is being done now is a process leading to the enactment of these pieces of legislation. There are about 6 of them. We just dealt with one this morning, so there are others. But it's a way of indicating that, look, there's need for changes in certain aspects of our legislation. And this has been emphasized by the what is coming in terms of the enactment of the bills. So the general public will hear much more as we go along.
Okay, for those who have heard before, I hope that they have not forgotten. And given my involvement, even at the OECS level, with police, education, governments, and so on this, I'm really hoping that my country, Dominica, that we can put the things in place and have this, because sitting on the bench, I know there's a need for it. And having gone through the legislation, knowing the one that we have presently, and based on the rights of the child, based on what we know about young people and the direction that we want young people to go, this is a much better piece of legislation. But legislation alone will just be a good thing on paper if we do not put the other things in place, the processes and the structures and so on. And we also have the people to have the mindset to accept and to help the process and not sabotage the process. So I'm really hoping that this can happen, because if it happens, it is for the better of our children.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony and Miss Augustus. And as we develop, and we have to develop our country physically and otherwise, we have to develop those institutions, and our legislation has to be revised and remodeled. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day. I will see you some other time.
Washing, drying, folding service, washing comfort cause it's worth it. Kiddy Zone, Crimson Toys, come on daddy, bring the bag. Dirty stains from wine and malts, come on man, it's not your fault. BZ Bubble.
Visit our new location on the Castle Comfort Highway next to the Cicero Hotel. BZ Bubble Laundry, taking the busy out of your day.
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, floor. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Post all you want.
Win big with Flow. iPads, smartphones, staycations, breakfast fare tickets, data, and over $15,000 in cash. Activate a 3, 7, or 30-day prepaid combo plan. Pay up your bill. Switch to Flow. Bundle up for your chance to win every day.
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Post all you want. Look at the place covered. Do what you want. Watch what you want.
Bundle now and get a smartphone for free. Switch now.
City, modern, creative, Exciting. From various heat press options to detail embroidery. With years of experience in photography and design. Get full-on branding deals, t-shirts and banner printings, logos, graphics and designs, along with additional social media services. Located at 42 Independence Street, Roseau Dominica, downstairs, Kyrie FM. Call 617-2916 or printcitydominica@gmail.com.
Do you think you have what it takes to be the next big voice on radio? Do you want to host your own show live on air? Do you have a keen interest in on-air DJing, an interesting show idea, or even news presenting? Well, we are open for auditions right here on Your Genuine Sound, Kyrie FM. Both male and female are welcome. Contact our office today at telephone 448-7331 or our programming department to book your audition spot. Step out of that box, break some boundaries, and be the next big voice on radio.
Are you looking for that perfect setup for your conference, seminar, or company function? Or maybe you need a low-budget setup for your party, dinner, or private gathering? How about that professional production for your grand concert, festival, or outdoor event? Kyrie Sounds is here to provide you with everything you need. PA system, stage, lighting, microphones, tents, LED digital screens, generators, projectors, crowd barriers, and more. We also offer free event consultation to ensure the success of your special event. Call us today at 612-4050 or 612-1265. Kyrie Sounds, your partner in sound, stage, and lighting services.
Quick delivery is a huge stress reliever for me, and it could be for you too, wherever you are in the world. Let me explain. Quick delivery usually helps you save time by delivering food from your favorite restaurants, packages from freight forwarders, cooking gas, groceries, pharmaceuticals, beauty supplies, and much more right to your door. But listen to this. If you're in the diaspora, quick delivery can help you too. Avoid the hassle of wasting time shipping barrels where they can get the necessities delivered to your family island-wide instead. Select the items that you want at various stores in Dominica, and quick delivery will shop and deliver for you. They'll even go pay your utility bills. So much easier. Call or WhatsApp 1767-245-0529 or 1767-616-7945 for more info. You crave it, we deliver. Skip the lane and save some time with quick delivery.
So I was listening intensely to what my granny was telling she.
I just want to apologize to all our listeners. Many of you trying to call to participate in the other program with Gloria Augustus and Martin Anthony, looking at the child justice bills. We do apologize to you. The both officials had to leave at a certain time. Miss Augustus has to get back to her job, and Mr. Anthony had to leave and do other things. We trust that the last hour and a half, or 20 minutes or so about was informative and educational. We'll fall back on this one, on this discussion sometimes later at another time. On the local line, good morning. On the local line, good morning. We just can't hear you on the local line. We just can't hear you. A lot of noise. Yeah, we just can't hear you. It is on the overseas line. Good morning. Yes, on the overseas line. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Franco. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
But then your guests and them left already.
Yes, they left already.
No, it was a question I wanted to ask. I heard the say which I agree for a parent when a child under age commits the crime, that I agree for the parents to pay. But also, the child, they can't just give a child, if the child does the crime, parents don't say anyone does no crime. But that child should be getting community service. Make them do their community service. If that's still a thing, Franco, and that thing they still cost $200, they should be giving the community 200 hours of community service, and the parents pay. It's supposed to be.
Okay. Well, yes. Hello.
Yes, I listen to you.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, our folks are not here. The welfare folks are not here. And they will be back at some stage, and so we can take it up with them.
You better get them back. The thing was so interesting. I was trying to enjoy the program there because I find that children do their crime, parents, they're underage, parents pay, I ask for parents to pay. But also they have to do their community service.
Yeah.
Let them do some hours.
Indeed.
In cost, you make them do the amount of hours for that.
Okay. So, Auntie, thanks for calling. Take care.
Franco.
Take care and have a wonderful day.
Say a little prayer. God does never give us more than we can bear.
On the local line, good morning.
Mr. Charles.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm all right. I felt Mr. Martin could stay. Mr. Martin not going to court. He could have hung on there with you and whatever it is, because, I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have his work to do, but Mr. Martin could have stayed there until you end the program, because it's a very interesting program, and it's one that where the public is participating in.
They'll come back. They'll be back soon. Believe me, they'll be back pretty soon.
But, Mr. Charles, I mean, imagine I have a document that somebody borrowed me, and there are some things in it that is ready. And maybe again is the cost of this implementation of certain things that government has to do. It's a big cost, because it is in a document is saying that the juveniles must have their own vehicle in the sense of transportation to the hearing, their own magistrate or their own judge. You understand? So government has to get a magistrate just to deal with juveniles, a judge or maybe just to deal with juveniles, their own transportation, special police officers, to deal with these youngsters. But as I made a point, I'm not sure if I made this point earlier, but you have some of these juveniles who keep repeating themselves. That's why they are given suspended sentence, reprimand, and sometimes they may ask the parents to pay for the cause. But you have parents who sooty-wear those children. What happens then if you find out that the parent is really sooty-wearing the child? Because I can tell you of an incident, but the boy was bringing up things for his mother, but she would never visit him at the prison. And then he made that statement openly, because his heart was broken to see that he wouldn't get a visit, but the items were coming home. You understand? And I am saying some of these young guys, they as I said earlier, they laugh because they say they fool the magistrate and whatever it is, and they boast to their friends, because the item sometimes will never be recovered. Some of them will never be recovered. So I am hoping that government may be really determined to go ahead and pass this bill, and then let us see how much fruit it's going to bear. But I know it's a cost, because again, we really have to look at a juvenile center or a detention center to house these young boys, because what they keep saying, sending them to the prison is making them worse. Although she made the point that is it I break you or it make you. You understand? But then the fact is that you have to you have to have staff to man that center. You have to provide meals. You have to maybe provide clothing, your electricity bill. All these have to be taken into account when you bring in this juvenile center. Now, she claims most of the Caribbean or the OECS countries have already passed that legislation, and Dominica is lagging behind. As to what is the reason for government not going forward yet, we don't know. Maybe, again, as I say, is the cost of all these things to be implemented is what may be tying government hands when they have other things to deal with, you know. But, I mean, I'm happy that she's on the air, and this is happening. Now, she mentioned about she have been to churches. I am saying if the church don't come to you, go to the churches. And you can write seeking an audience with the churches, because there are some churches that people just don't come to at all or don't see because it is out of reach or they are not a popular church. And I have a problem with that. So I am saying they should try to reach out. You can invite yourself. Yes, I have no problem with that. You invite yourself, because what you want to do is to spread as much information that you can and to inform the members that will attend that function.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is how I'm looking at it.
Well, thank
because
you.
Sometimes they having these things and you do not hear announcement for you to participate.
Mm.
Now, I don't expect to leave Rosa and go Portsmouth to attend something, but if it is in my vicinity, then you make that effort to go and to participate, where you could share your views and stuff like that. So you don't hear, they say she have been meeting with people, they have been having discussion, but you don't hear when those things are taking place sometimes. So anyway, thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you, caller, and have a wonderful day yourself. It's a wonderful time for us to play this song. Keep the candles burning. We keep the candles burning for our young people. And of course, importantly, we remember our dear sister, our child, who's still out there. Let's not give up the ghost, eh? On the local line, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Charles.
Good morning, how are you?
Well, I'm VIP, sir, and giving God thanks and praise and being grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Charles, I was listening to the magistrate and listening to Mr. Anthony. And these people have been doing that for years. They put themselves forward and doing that for years, educating people. Sometimes I feel sorry for these magistrates and these people that are the welfare. I feel sorry for these people because what? They keep doing these things for years, trying to get the word to go out, trying to make things better. And some people that are in authority or wherever they are, what they have to do, they're not moving a finger. That's the problem we have in Dominica, you know. Some people not moving a finger for certain things to happen. And it creates a problem. You have to have everybody on board, the health people, the DAT people, come on board. Be serious. Sometimes we're not serious about certain things. I mean, look at that. For decades and decades, that Magistrate Gloria have been talking. Decades and decades. You think it's now she talking? You think it's now Mr. Anthony talking? But the people in authority that have to move that pencil and to cross that line, they're not doing it. As far as I'm concerned, my brother, if you're not, a center is not made for a juvenile center. You're making a mistake if you don't put in a juvenile center to address your children and some people go through the cracks. So we have to prepare for that kind of stuff. When certain people go through the cracks, we have to have things in place to help them. These are our children. Let me tell you something. A lot of us look at it as though a juvenile center maybe the costing money, the cost that. That's foolishness to talk that talk. The costing that. There's no cost to that when it comes to children and helping children. If we say we are Christians, let me tell you, when Jesus Christ came here for 23 years, my brother, his concern was to heal people, feed people, and keep people well, mentally and physically and spiritually, you know. And if we say we are children of God, how come we're not following the precepts of how Jesus Christ walked 33 years? We have the examples there. The scripture is there for us to follow. We're not following it. A juvenile center, we should pass legislation a long time. If all the Caribbean people pass the legislation, why Dominica drag in to pass it? When it's important, that's an important thing. If we don't put things in place, that will come back and haunt us as a people in our society. You don't put a juvenile center. You don't help people to come off the crack and cook and do that stuff. These same children will come back and come in your house and thief in your house. They will jump on your children. This is what that's going to happen if we do address those things. We take it as a joke. That's not no joke. I myself am recommending, I tell the Prime Minister, hey look, the CBI fund, get some money of that CBI fund and build that center. It will benefit us more than we think. There's a lot of things we have to put in place, National security, do what you have to do. The minister, it will benefit us later. If we don't do that, it will haunt us. People are going to steal in stores. They'll do that. Young fellas, they'll do that if you don't put things in place. And sometimes we too much, man. And we don't address it. We as a people, we just talk. And we as a people that say we know Jesus Christ. We're not walking like He walk. That's 33 years. Walk the walk and stop talking that talk, man. As I getting fed up with our society dealing with people and the institute. The churches themselves, what they're doing? They ain't doing nothing as far as I'm concerned. Go in the highway and the byway and address the drug situation and talk to people personally. People have programs on radio, but it's not reaching everybody. Go on the ground, go in the rum shop, go in the market and pull something out and address those situations. And I'm telling the government, man, there's a lot of situations. Address it. You can build houses, it's good. For single parents, it's good. You can build hotels, it's good. But my brother, if you don't address societal problem, all the hotels, all this sitting you do, the same children will mash it up. And you'll have problem as a government if you don't address that. So I know the Prime Minister has a good heart. So I asking him, as a citizen, a concerned citizen, take some of that CBI money and build that center and do certain things we have to do in Dominica because he'll come back and haunt us. Something I really passionate about certain things. I seen it, my brother. I'm not here on Earth. I'm not in Dominica for 25 years. I'm in Dominica for 50 years. 50 years already, A certain thing I see in, if you can move something and do something, let us take out those square pegs in wrong holes. Dominica have too much people in square pegs, in wrong holes. They don't belong where they are. Some people don't belong in health. Some people don't belong in agriculture. Some people don't belong in certain places. They don't belong there. Move these people and get people that really want to work and people have foresight and vision. My brother, is the Bible tells if you have vision, if you perish.
Thank you.
And if
Thank you,
you ask God
caller.
for wisdom, if you ask God for wisdom to do what you have to do, my brother, will be in bigger problem. That's why the Bible tells you, pray for those in authority that they'll do well. And sometimes we curse in our country. Why don't all those people that walk in Roseau, why don't you go and walk for center? Why don't you ask the government, protest for center, protest to help our children? Why you don't do that? Man, I tell you those foolishness in that country and people must solve those problems. Have a blessed day.
Caller, thank you. Thank you for your passionate contribution there. We keep our candles burning for our young people and, of course, our child out there somewhere in some part of Dominica. And as we said earlier, if you know where that child is, if you have able to contact the gentleman or the man holding our child, please say a good word, give a good word on behalf of the welfare of the child. And we expect some good news today. Every day brings new hope.
So there'll be no more murder and suicide. We put our petty difference.
And of course, our young people will learn how to resolve conflicts or differences, in different ways, I think these, the recent activities, the recent developments among our youth, it's just untenable. And so we are summoning all our energies, and towards our young people. On the local line, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ronald.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, calling as a citizen from Dominica. I live in Guadeloupe. I'd like to ask a question. Concerning that young lady, that young child of 12 years, because I have a daughter that will be 12 years on the 20th of June. And it's so painful that when you sit down on your table and you're eating, you think of if that child had eaten a meal that you know that she haven't eaten a meal that a family will cook for her, right? You know that, look at the rain that falls in Dominica. Look at the rain. We are in the season of hurricane season, right? She's in the cold there. And we know that this child is a child that is she's maybe menstruating. When her period, when she gets her monthly, whatever young children gets when it's month, every month, how is she going to do? Huh? How is she going to do with someone that is nothing to her? I heard the mother speaking on Q95. And to me, what the mother said, it don't make no sense to me. Because things that she has been saying, I believe there are other things and she's not saying it. She's not bringing up the truth. Because when you say the child looks like the boy child, and you put the boy there and you put his child and you put that child, they have the same face. You are giving the nation that the child belongs to the boy. Huh? Some people doesn't know what they're saying, Mr. Ronald. Right? Another thing again, I asking myself, is the authorities in Dominica, if they have sent that child picture to the Caribbean country, like St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Guadeloupe, if they have sent the child picture and the boy's photo.
These are all over Facebook, all over on social media.
Because I cannot understand, something is not normal. Something is not normal. When the mother said that he had his bomb, he has his frying pan, he has his cup tie around him. So what you telling me? Huh? You saying that you don't know where the child is. You asking God to make. We saying that when the moon go down, as the moon going up, he's bad. When the moon go down, he will get calm. So what you telling me? As a mother, as a family, know something. A place like Guadeloupe, Mr. Ronald, I can tell it to anybody. A place like Guadeloupe, that lady in custody unless they don't get that child.
Well, we do not know what the police is doing. The police will not reveal. There are certain things they can tell the public. There are certain things they'll keep to themselves. But I'm sure they're working. I had the.
They work because the child, to me myself, when somebody take a child like that, this was my child. Let us put us in the family place, the child family. Her father, especially her mother, whoever that adopted anything, and we were in their position. We will not be sleeping. We will not be eating. We will not be even drinking water because we don't know what happened. Everybody's saying that the child, he don't kill the child, he don't do the child nothing. We're not praying that for him to destroy the child. But we don't know if he does sexual abuse the child. We have to think of different things, all kinds of things. Look at they give it 7 days. A child of 12 years is out in the cold there. Come on, man. Come on. I mean, if in case they don't get that child today, they have to keep on searching. And sometimes, they have to go on and on. You understand? Sometimes who knows what he can do again? He can come back in the village and take somebody else's child again.
Yeah.
The mother says she don't know what he do. She don't know what he go in. The mother have to know that he go in evil. He's an evilic. He deal with the demons. He deal with Satan. If it was a madman that had that child, we get that child already. Because he will let go the child. He will not take because he will be in a wonder world. What he do with that child? When that child come out, he will get the child and leave the child and go back in the village. So the boy know what he's not mad. He know what he's doing, Mr. Ronald. He know what he's doing. I can't say somebody mad like that.
Okay, my caller, thank you for your contribution. We.
I don't want to tell the family hold strong and Quentin and Dominicans hold strong. Don't give up. Pray.
Mm-hmm.
Pray with faith.
Oh yeah.
Until this is for lost found object. This child's an object, and God will make her come back.
Indeed, that's why we say keep the candles burning. Don't give up. Support our police and the work that they are doing. Support the authorities. Keep the candle burning.
Our Prime Minister's strength because it's not an easy situation for the whole of Dominica. The whole of Dominica, whether you're in Dominica, whether you're outside, you are citizens, and it's painful because everybody has kids. Everybody has kids.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself, Mr. Ronald.
You too.
Continue to do your good work.
Thank you. You too. Take care. Have a wonderful day. There is a not so subtle attempt, to promote the rights of the kidnapper over the rights of the child. It's funny. I wonder those who are doing that, what would be their reaction if it was their family member involved in that situation? Everybody have rights. The young girl has rights as well. On the local line, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, I'm good.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, sir, I'm there.
Yeah?
I do want to on the radio. Mr. Charles?
Yes?
Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, I'm fine.
Mr. Charles, the hearts are bleeding.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
Who have children, who doesn't have children. It's a pain. It's a load.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very sad. Tuesday to Tuesday, today's Tuesday.
8 days.
8 days, Mr. Charles. To have a 12-year-old wherever in bush or wherever that child is, and I'm praying that the Almighty Father put words of encouragement in this mother's mind. Let her say the right things. Because if there are things hidden, Lord Jesus, help this mother to bring out the right things. Because it is not helping. It is not helping. Hearts are on fire. Hearts are bleeding. And then, a child of 12, since that day, and you're saying his pot, his frying pan, his toilet, his everything wrong, his ways. No, as the young lady was saying, this lady should be somewhere and should have to say more. Should have to say what you know about what went on. And it is very sad. It is heartbreaking. Our country, lovely Dominica, should not be going through that phase. We just came from COVID-19, right? And then for us to be in that situation again, my Prime Minister, may God bless you. May God guide and protect you, defend you, give you the willpower, give you the strength to cope. You have children too, and to help you to move on because you are the thinking tree. And the Almighty Father will put more good thoughts in your mind that you can do something better for Dominica and for that child. Because most times I'm looking at it, I'm saying, Monty, to continue in that bush, where else to go? Where else they can go? And like some people will say, oh, being in the bush, you pushing him further in. You don't know, what can you do? You cannot give up on that child. And whoever, Monty, in this Dominica or wherever, know anything, God will quail you. God will quail you. Come out and say something. Say something for the betterment of this child and even the man, because they have to get every one of them. And we pray, Dominicans, Catholics, Pentecostals, all religious, come out and let us lift up our voice. Let us pray, let us shout, let us cry. Let us go on our knees and call that the Almighty Father will send a light on this child, and then that light will shine, and then the people looking for that child will see that child, and then a vision will just appear and just see that child. Just take a walk. If she escapes, if she run, if she fly, that she will be where she's supposed to be. My God, put a hand for Dominica, put a hand for our Prime Minister, this man, hard-working man, just turned 50, have to be going through all those kind of stress and strenuous days. Lord, have mercy on Dominica. Bless Dominica, Lord Jesus, and help us to pray. People, pray. People keep on praying. When you look at your children, you're not feeling it. You're not feeling it. Yes, feel it, because it's for the whole country and for the whole world. Mr. Charles, I can't say more. Have a blessed day.
Thank you for your...
And no weapon formed against this country. No weapon. Whoever is using that weapon there to destroy the country, they will fail. They will fail. They will fail. God will intervene. Have a blessed day, sir.
Thank you, and yourself, take your thanks for your intervention. Of course, the Prime Minister, he's doing his utmost. He has placed the government, entire government machinery, and in that effort, to rescue our child, to bring our child home. Even whilst he was away, he took great interest, made his way back here as soon as it possible. And went straight, into addressing this matter. We thank him for his service to our country. Young man, having done so much for our country. On the overseas line, good morning.
Yes, Mr. Charles, fireman touching base. I know the time is short. Good morning to River Nick and the world. Mr. Charles, right now I have a doctor over our country. But you see the problem, Mr. Charles? The person that do the crime, he believe in Jesus. The mother, everybody believe in God and Jesus. Everybody prayed. I want to know what is the problem in the world. The problem we have in the world, Mr. Charles? This thing God and Jesus, whosoever say, mankind fight past that long time. Mankind will have no liberty of God. Mankind have the devil concept. And Mr. Let me tell you something. It's not whether I take the child, his niece or whatsoever. I know the fellow mother very well. Man, that is a very nice, loving lady. No one saying what I want. And what I'm telling you, because she's come selling in the market, I had to buy food from her. And there is no way in life that child, or whosoever that fella have the child, that mother would never, I know that lady very well. I tell you, there are people telling me, I know them sisters. You used to have luck, I know her very well. She's a nice, laughing, smiling empress. I call her empress. She's a very nice person. So when children doing their thing, they mustn't put family in it. That is wrong. Every human being responsible for their own action, Mr. Charles. No, Mr. and them have the devil concept in them. Mr. Charles, if that child has several lives still, she have to be a turkey or a circle, because only turkey and circle can live in bush like that. But I myself know for a pack in the name of King Selassie. Mr. is not in the bush. Mr. is a Massat, Mao, Kenfield, somewhere club. Mr. not nowhere in bush. As far as I know, Mr. My energy telling me, my father give my energy telling me, Mr. not in no kind of bush. Mr. out of bush. Mr. somewhere in the village somewhere, flexing and dining. And as everybody say, any human being that know about that, my Lord, I'll have a special judgment to get and go and pass generation to generation. Mr. Charles, the time is short. World boss, we have a country to build. There is no stopping us. All Satan, all Judas, all Barabbas, all John Paul, all malice, all bad mind. Step aside. Now it's time for Selassie item to burn all up here. Mr. Wa, good morning to you, my great brother, and my original lawyer, Mr. Moses. Mommy not in St. Martin, Mr. Charles, our country suffering because we have too much chaos, malice, bad mind, jealousy, evilness, bitter, sour, tomate, desolate. Too much malice people in River Nickel. Mr. Charles, up and running, fireman running, fire up on them, Mr. Charles. Bless up.
Thank you, fireman. It's already 4 minutes before 10 o'clock. Hello, good morning. You have a minute.
Good morning, Mr. Charles.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm fine. I'm not fine.
I know. I understand.
Listen to me, Mr. Charles. I'm a mother of 9 children, grandmother of 20 grandchildren.
Wow.
I'm a mother of 7 great-grandchildren. And when I look at my little grandchild right now, 12 years old, just like that child, Mr. Charles, night and day, I have been weeping and crying. I don't know what to say to my Lord again. But then Jesus, put your hand.
Indeed.
And you in control for that child. Where is that boy mother? What she is saying? If she's condoning what boy, if she know the whereabouts of that boy, please, lady, give it up. Tell your son, give it up. It is time. I am sick and I'm shutting inside. And I have my children outside. My heart is going out. When I see my little granddaughter come here one of those days, and I tell her what is happening, she just hold me and she start to cry. Please, lady, if you know where that child is, don't blame the government as all you does. Mr. Scabidon is enough. And you're supposed to play your part. Tell your son bring that child home. Okay?
Thank you.
Bring him, that child home for her mother or her wherever. Remember, somebody outside is grieving.
Yeah,
But I
indeed.
think it's 12-year-old child.
Okay.
I don't know her, but she's my daughter.
Okay.
My granddaughter.
So we have to go now. Sorry, but we are. Yeah, take care.
Good morning.
And thanks for your contribution. We really have to go now. Yeah. God
That
bless.
contribution is not enough. I wish I could do more.
Yes, yes. But you've done a lot. You've done a lot. Thank you. We can
Okay.
feel the emotion and the appeal has gone out. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Charles.
Yeah, take care.
All now some tears in my eyes, my heart full. I
Mhm.
cannot. Okay, have a blessed day.
You too.
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, floor. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Post all you want.
Win big with Flow. iPads, smartphones, staycations, breakfast fare tickets, data, and over $15,000 in cash. Activate a 3, 7, or 30-day prepaid combo plan. Pay up your bill. Switch to Flow. Bundle up for your chance to win every day.
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Post all you want. Look at the place covered. Do what you want. Watch what you want.
Bundle now and get a smartphone for free. Switch now.
Daddy, you dirty your clothes again, and mommy not there to help you though. Well, bam, daddy dirty his clothes.
Easy breezy, busy bubble laundry service on the hustle. Washing, drying, folding service. Washing comfort cause it's worth it. Kiddies Zone, cribs and toys.
Come on, daddy, bring the bag.
Dirty stains from wine and malts. Come on, man, it's not your fault. Busy bubble.
Visit our new location on the Castle Comfort Highway next to the Cicero Hotel. Busy Bubble Laundry, taking the busy out of your day.
It is 45 seconds after 10 o'clock. That's where we call it quit. We are unable to take another call. We got to move here and do other things. Thank you for joining us. We do apologize for the earlier hiccup in the start to this program, but I think we did reasonably well. Thank you. Join us tomorrow morning at the same time for another edition of the Hang program. God bless you. Have a wonderful, productive day. And if you can assist, go out and assist. Bring our child home. Her place is in the house. In her home, among her family, friends, loved ones.